Hello, welcome to MCFC 9320 PUBcast, and tonight we're going to be discussing all the City boys, what are in the World Cup and how they're doing and when can we get them home. Tonight we've got Anne-Marie and Celebrity John. Good evening,
Hello.
guys.
Good evening.
How are you?
All good?
Good, thank you.
Been watching plenty of the World Cup?
Only the evening ones. I've not had a chance because I've been working during the day, so.
How did you say that without laughing, working?
I'm always working, mate.
Yeah, I started off by saying I'm not really going to watch it because I'm not interested, but I've ended up watching quite a lot. Pretty much the same as you, John, the evening ones, because, I do actually work for a living. You seen much, Anne-Marie?
Can't say I've watched a lot, but I've listened to the early kickoffs at work. Have the radio on and been listening through my headphones. And I have to say, Five Live have done a great job on commentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really not that bothered about the World Cup. I just want our players home injury-free.
Absolutely. We'll
Don't we all?
We'll touch on a couple of points in a bit, De Bruyne and stuff like that, because he's caused a bit of controversy, hasn't he? In his homeland. So yeah, here's a few of the players what are in. I've missed Ederson out because Ederson's not going to get a game, is he really?
No, not really. But then again, we don't mind.
No, and right, just there, we've got the most players in the World Cup, so that's worried me a little bit, beforehand. But there's a little bit of karma, really, John. I was discussing it with Anne-Marie earlier. All the players what took the foot off the pedal leading up to the World Cup.
Yeah.
They're not doing very well, are they?
No, they're not.
And as much as I love De Bruyne, he's probably the biggest culprit, isn't he? He wasn't great leading up to the World Cup, but he's had an absolute shocking World Cup so far.
Yeah, I watched a game the other night, and it wasn't Kevin De Bruyne playing, because we know what he can do, and he just looked like a petulant child at times. He was getting upset with other players, and he said a few things after the game, and it's just not like him. But I know he can throw his dummy out the pram at times.
Pram out of the toys.
Oh yeah. But he needs to do better, and he will do it. But I think he's having a totally off season this season anyway.
Yeah,
even for us.
Yeah, Anne-Marie, with what he said, about when he was asked the question, have you got a chance of winning the World Cup? And he says, no, we're too old. Our best chance was 2018. Do you reckon he was doing that tongue in cheek and people have took it the wrong way, or do you reckon it's just the way his mindset is? Which, like John said, it's not really Kevin De Bruyne. That.
No, but I do think he's probably right in what he said. When you look at some of the players that they've got playing for them, Vertonghen, he passed his best. And Courtois dropped a clanger, didn't he, the other night? So there's probably quite a bit of truth in what he said, but they just didn't want to hear it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Vertonghen bit back at him a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
And said about the forwards obviously being too old as well.
I wish I was that old.
Don't we all? So I think with a bit of luck there, I think they'd play later on in the week, don't they?
Yep.
They've won one, they've lost one.
They've got a great chance, haven't they?
They've still got a great chance
of coming home early.
Coming home early. Well, I think the one player I probably would want to get back early would be Kevin, because I think he needs to sort himself out a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe being back with City will give him a chance to do that.
Because even a few weeks ago, Pep hinted that De Bruyne's not him. This not just this World Cup,
Can
but
let
he
the cat
said,
out.
"You let the cat out. You let the cat out, John. You let the cat out of the bag." Yeah, Pep was saying De Bruyne's not himself this season, and it raised a few eyebrows. But we'd spoken about that even before. Not, I'm not saying we spoke about it before Pep, but some of the podcasts what we've done, we actually said that De Bruyne's not, as well as a few other players. To be fair, that is not actually himself so far this season. So
No.
No, he's definitely not. When we're watching him play at the moment and his passing's off, um, he's just not. He's got brilliant times in during the game, but it's very far few between now. But like I said, the passing's off, and it's not the same. Whether it's just an off season and he's going to be brilliant again next season, I don't know. But like he says, they're not getting any younger, are they?
no. So hopefully, it sounds awful because it's a career highlight to the players. We're saying we just want them back. We're not bothered. That's our selfish way. But I'm sure there's football fans up and down. Well, the world who probably do think the same as us. Tell you who hasn't impressed me what I've seen, and that's Alvarez, 2 substitute appearances. I think he's done all right. What substitution the other night when just before Messi scored? I think he was only on the pitch less than a minute.
Well,
Messi scored.
it was Alvarez that made the space for Messi, because when he came on, then they concentrated a little bit on Alvarez, which then gave Messi the space, and Messi scores.
Yeah. I just feel it is making the difference for Argentina, and so again, Argentina have won one, Anne-Marie, and they've lost one. So depending how results go, Alvarez could be on his way home early as well.
Again, I wouldn't be sorry because I think he's just beginning to settle in at City, and I wouldn't want anything to happen to him to put that off track. I think he's going to be a very important player for us in the coming months.
I do. What one person who's really impressed me so far is Nathan Ake. I think he's been brilliant. Not just for country, but for us as well. But he's carried that into the World Cup, hasn't he? And him and that other fella who's not as good as Ake at centre back for Holland. He's impressed me, Ake.
Another one that's really impressed me so far this World Cup is Akanji.
He had a great game today.
Yeah, he had a great game.
I've not seen any of the Switzerland games, but I was talking to Anne-Marie before we started recording. Anne-Marie said that we had a fantastic game today. So
yeah,
I'm glad for him because to be fair, Ake and Akanji have probably been our best centre backs, for City. So it shouldn't really come as a great surprise that they starring for the countries.
No, it's not. But it's like some players don't carry it on, do they? But the last games that we had at City, and they looked like they was already at the World Cup, but some of the players now look like they're already home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
You can put your ugly mug back on again now.
Sorry. Is that better? Yeah.
No, it's not. Put it back.
Let's look at Germany. Gundogan, he scored in the first game. It's a penalty, then got substituted. That seemed to change the dynamics of Germany. I'm not too fussed if Germany go out, but I feel a little bit sorry for Gundogan because I don't think he got to grips with the second, in the second match, did he?
No, he didn't. Germany are not the same team as they used to be.
No.
Definitely not. It's like, I know England aren't fantastic. They could be with a better manager, because I still don't rate Southgate.
He's got to go. He's got a lot of criticism, not just from City fans, because I think if anything, City fans are going, nah, I'm not really bothered if Foden plays, but the nation, even the likes of all the pundits and stuff like that, they're crying out for Foden, actually saying Foden is the best English talent we've got, and that's over that Bellingham. I'm not sure how old Bellingham is though. I don't think they've really mentioned it, but yeah, I just think
Bellingham had a good first game, but then in the second game he was non-existent.
Yeah, I know.
And that second game was just...
The second game, none of them stood out, did they?
No, it was crying out for Foden to come on.
Yeah.
And Southgate just sat there twiddling his thumbs, let the game go on. But he was very proud at the end, though, how the game went. And he said it was, a brilliant performance. And, well, it's not much of a performance if there's no goals, is there?
No, let's look. I know Portugal are winning 1-0 now at the minute, but let's look at Spain. You've got Laporte and Rodri playing centre back for them. So the connection there to England, if Rodri plays, because it looks like Spain will go on to, quite well in the World Cup. So maybe that will have a little bit of impact for us. So I can see Calvin Phillips playing, more game time when he comes back.
Yeah, quite possibly, as long as he stays fit, which he should do, because the injury he had was only his shoulder, and that's been repaired, and he's back now. So unless something happens with his legs, which we don't want to happen, but it all depends if he gets played in this World Cup as well, because if he doesn't, then he's going to be rusty anyway.
Yeah, let's hope he is training well, which I've not seen anything to suggest.
I still can't get my head around this World Cup being now. It still doesn't feel right.
No,
it doesn't. It's weird.
Well, it isn't right, and to be fair to the different countries, it isn't right for them either, because normally prior to any World Cup they have 3 or 4 weeks together before they go to the World Cup. This time they've had a week. And I think you can, in a lot of the teams, you can see that they've only had a week together.
Yeah.
But it's just it just proves how much money rules the game.
Oh yeah, it does.
It really
does. Going back to England, Southgate has his favourites. It's like he won't drop Sterling, and he won't drop Mason Mount.
We'll never go anywhere then, will we?
I think tomorrow Southgate is going to have to swallow his pride and play Grealish, Walker, and Foden, as well as Stones.
Yeah,
I think the nation is demanding it, really.
Yeah. Thing is, City are the best team going, and there's players in that England squad that haven't been playing, that play for the best team going.
But you can understand Southgate leaving Foden out, because apparently he doesn't play in midfield for City in the centre.
Foden can play anywhere across the front.
That just sums him up. But Grealish is an interesting one, isn't it? And great what he did as well. For little
Finley.
For little Finley. And Grealish would have done that if the cameras wasn't running anyway, because he is that type of lad.
Yeah, of course he is.
I think he's growing on everybody, isn't he? I just think he's a fantastic footballer, and he's only going to get better. So the first game, his first World Cup goal, which fair play to him, but he did that in more or less the position what Pep started putting him in, more in the centre. By all accounts, Amory, he had a good appearance when he come on and against the USA, didn't he?
Yeah, apparently so. And I think, for Jack himself, regardless of who he played for or whatever, but I just think that whole celebration has done wonders for Grealish. Because after everything that was put in the papers about him over the summer, about him celebrating and being drunk and whatever else, which he's fully entitled to be and do, I think to see this side of him for everyone else is a good wake-up call to show that you can't just judge, what you're reading in bloody scum papers if you like. So I think,
Was
so I
that your
think
Alexa by any chance?
She knows best, Alexa.
So I think just for himself, I think he's done wonders for himself this tournament, and I'd like to see him get a little bit more game time as well, because I think he needs game time, and I think the more than with England, I think he does with us, for us to see the best of him.
Yeah.
And it does frustrate me sometimes that he'll go on a run of games where he's playing well, and then all of a sudden he's dropped again. It just baffles me. But what do I know? I'm not a manager, am I?
No. So John,
Better one than the Southgate.
So yeah. So that leaves us with just the Portuguese lads of Bernardo, Diaz, and Cancelo. Even Bernardo's not been high, has he?
No. I think a lot of them this season have been looking at this World Cup coming up. A lot of them have been nervous about getting injured because it's a World Cup. But they've all gone into it, and I honestly don't think they feel the same way as well, because it must feel weird to them. Because normally they finish a season and then they go into the tournaments. But this is mid-season, and they're thinking, we've still got trophies to go for after this.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're all at 100%.
So I don't think we bothered, are we? As I said earlier, the players will think different because it's the highlight of their career. But I think this goes to show that I don't think the tournament's been that great. People can in the media can build it up how it's been, but I think as a spectacle, it's not been great. So I think lessons have got to be learned with that. With the time and it's been held.
Well, it's like I was watching some of the games, and you look at they're all purpose-built stadiums, aren't they?
Yeah,
they've all been built
with aircon.
Yeah, but why are the fans so far away from the pitch? Why not make them to fit a football pitch?
Yeah,
weird. It's like they've made 4 West Ham stadiums and then thrown a pitch in the middle of it, and it just doesn't look right. It's weird.
Here's a question for you before I get on. Before we finish with something else. Out of all the England boys, Anne-Marie, who's going to come back as a World Cup winner?
Out of all the England boys? The City boys?
Sorry, out of all the City. Just seeing if you're listening. Just seeing.
Yeah.
I think most likely, if we are to have a winner, it's going to be Bernardo, Cancelo, and Diaz.
John?
I'd go for Laporte and Rodri.
That's where I think that's where the smart money is. But I said before the tournament, Argentina. They had a defeat, but a tournament, whether it's the Euros, whether it's the World Cup, whether it's the Champions League, you don't always have to start off and win all your games. It's about building into it. But I can't look past Spain and Portugal, if I'm honest. Sorry, Argentina and Portugal. I tell you, I need a drug test tonight.
Yeah, I think you do, mate. I know what it is. You've finally gone back to work. You're working yourself too hard.
I'm not. No, I just feel like you can't go beyond them, because Spain in the first game, they just looked as if they was it was just like watching City, wasn't it? Even Torres, bagged a couple. I think that right. We'll finish off tonight. We've got to speak about Pep signing a 2-year extension. I put this
before we do.
Cool.
FA Cup draw has been done tonight.
Well, yeah, Chelsea
again. So we're gonna have to knock them out of the FA Cup now, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's meh, isn't it, at the moment. There's going to be a lot of games. The second, I think we've all said this. After the World Cup, anything can happen because we don't know what players are coming out. Coming back with fatigue and stuff like that. Not just City players, but anyone really, even players what have not gone to the World Cup, who were just
because they won't
basically
be match fit, will they?
No, and that's it, and that's why lessons have got to be learned and not hold a World Cup like this again. Yeah. Okay, Pep. We put this in the group, 2-year extension. I can't help but feel it's his last 2 years.
It probably is his last 2 years.
Because there was something very poignant what he said about speaking to his family and then more or less give him permission for another 2 years.
Well, yeah, of course it is. It's, at the end of the day, he's got his family, he's got his wife, he's got his kids, and they've all got to deal with it. And they probably want to be back and stay in Spain.
What, is Blackpool not good enough for him?
No, definitely not. Would you stay in Blackpool? Come on.
Not if he paid me. But to be honest, Blackpool's all right for any City Blackpool fans because I do know a few. But no, it is Amory. It's just like above anything, especially with Pep, losing one of his parents to COVID and stuff like that. Football, is more. It's not as important than
no, it isn't.
Family, is it?
And you only needed to look at the way Pep, in particular, handled the David Silva situation when the baby was so poorly.
Yeah.
He basically said to him, "Don't worry about this. Just go.
Yeah, we'll be here when you come back."
And it was said, and even I think Silva, when he spoke about it, said how wonderful Pep had been with him. Yeah. And I think that's, for me, is probably the best sign of what kind of a man he is. Because you see him as a bit of a machine, going because it has been such a constant role for us. But yet the reality is that even he, is going to say, no, that's more important.
Yeah,
and that's something that I do like about him, and it just proves that really I've always thought of City as a family club, and I think it shows that deep down we still are that family club.
I'll go one, but I think we're more of a family club since we won the lottery than we was before.
Possibly.
With some of the things like what do go on. I honestly feel that. So, Amory, does it feel like Pep's last 2 years to you?
Well, I know we've got an option of a third, haven't we?
I thought it was a 1 year option of another 1 year, from what I heard.
Oh well.
No, it's 2 years he's signed for, and there must be an option for a third, because he said I'm here for the next 2 years, so he can't say I'm here for a year and then an option.
It's just he said just something I heard. That's all. Don't shoot the messenger. Either way,
Well, for me,
the Premier League.
If Pep wants to go in 2 years' time, then
he'll have our blessing. He'll have our blessing, won't we?
Of course he will, because we've seen stuff that we never thought we'd see. We've played the kind of football that we could only ever have dreamed about. And whether we win the Champions League or not, he's the one manager that's took us to a final.
At the end of the day as well, when he first came, they all said 3 years and he's gone.
Yeah.
So he's already been with us a lot longer, you know what I mean?
I tell you what worries me a little bit. Well, not worrying as such. How will it be? Will his hunger still be there when he wins the Champions League this season?
Yes, it will be.
Yeah.
Pep would not change.
Anyway.
That's why he needs to he needs to have a year off after this.
He will. He'll do pretty much what he did. Went from Barca to Bayern Munich, and then he had a year out in New York, didn't he? And he probably would do that, but I can't see him going into international management because he's too hands on. He wants to, be there every single day, don't he? But he'll go with our best wishes, but let's hope that third year is on there, and a fourth year and a fifth year. But
Thing is, where would he go after us?
I've heard people say Paris Saint-Germain, but no, he won't go.
No.
He won't go to a Farmers League. No chance.
I can't see that.
No,
unless they pay him an absolute fortune.
Well, they would, but Pep's not about money, is he? He's on a fortune as he is now.
Yeah.
France, closer to Spain, but I can't see that one.
He's got the best of everything at City.
Yeah.
He openly says that, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But he's got his mates there that know what he likes and how he wants things to be with Tixie and that. So I don't know whether you'll see him managing another club team.
I don't know. But you know something? You couldn't blame him wanting to move to the other side of the world if Dele Alli was still after your daughter, though, would you? Oh, God.
They're already talking about replacements for Pep, and they're still reckoning Arteta is the one.
Let's see how Arteta goes. He seems the obvious choice. Vinny's being touted, but Vinny's got a lot to prove.
Yeah, Vinny's got a lot to prove yet.
It's all right. It's all right. Everyone getting a bit giddy. Yeah, I'd love to see Company. One day manage City, but let's our heads overrule the heart. Because we want what's best for us. It's okay. How many times have we had ex-players manage us? Stuart Pearce, Peter Reid.
Yeah.
Obviously Vinny's at a different caliber to that, but it's the same principle. We've got to make sure, and I'm sure it is. Pepper'd have a say who's going to come in anyway.
Yeah, of course he will. And I reckon if he did his third year, then whoever coming in might come in then, and he might stay with him for a year.
I can't see that if it was, say, somebody like Arteta.
Why not? They've worked together before.
Yeah, but could you see Arteta giving up, say, an Arsenal job to come back and be on, a number two? If you like?
No, because Arteta could come in as the manager on a third year, and Pep could be his number two.
I just can't. Something. I don't even really want to talk about Pep going anymore because it's, it'll just put me on a downer. Right, I think we've done everything, haven't we? Oh, hang on, we've got live. We've got a message from Riz. Because people will notice why Riz is not here tonight.
Yep, go on.
Sorry. Oh, and I won't turn it round in case people see his number. Sorry, I've only just been let out of the cell. Something happened with Anthony. Who's Anthony? I don't know who Anthony is anyway. Something's happened with Anthony. I better not read the rest because it might be it sounds like it'll be going to
court.
Yeah, no, I won't do that. Anyway, guys, been good discussion.
Just a quick update. Portugal are winning 2-0 now in the 93rd minute.
Who scored?
Fernandes.
Who?
Bruno Fernandes.
Was it a penalty?
Who's he?
Well, before they said Ronaldo scored the first one, but it looks like he's got both of them, and one of them was a penalty.
Yeah, it had to be a penalty, didn't it?
Yeah.
Fernandes.
Is a right rap feature, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I like it. Right, guys. We'll do it again on Sunday. We'll have a better idea, won't we? The England boys.
Yeah, we will do.
Yeah. So have a good week, and we'll.
You too.
And we will do it again very, very soon.
No problem.
Have a good week.